How you doing, guys? Happy Monday, happy Monday. I know you guys had a blessed day, and I'm hoping that I should say. But if you didn't so far, I want you to have a blessed time watching this video because I'm going to bless you with a few things that I think that a lot of people could possibly use as far as building their credit. Some of the things that I'm in the process of using. Yes, I said in the process of using. Because I'm not only just here to start a business and get other people involved in this so they can benefit as well, but I'm also utilizing the tools that is provided by a company that I teamed up with, is MyEcon. So with that being said, we're going to start with, I have nine tips that you need in order to improve your credit all the way around the board. So those 9 tips is gonna give you a nice step-to-step type of situation where you could start realizing these steps may be possible. I could possibly do this. Because I have some people out there who just run from the fact of credit. Oh, numbers, oh, the government, oh, the IRS, all the rest of that stuff. Everybody just gets so caught up in that. So the first step that we're going to talk about, guys, is very simple. The first step is going to be get your credit score. Most of us don't even know our credit score. Most of us haven't even seen our credit score or even cared in many years. But now, maybe as you got older, you wanted to do more things like buy a house, buy a car, or maybe you've gotten to the point where you have just settled into whatever your life may be at this point because you feel like there's nothing out there bigger, so why would you need credit? But all those things, I hope, can be deterred by some of the things that we're talking in here. That makes it sound a little easier, and in which it is easier. So the first step will be how to obtain it, obviously. So to get all 3 credit bureaus, you are legally, you're allowed each year to pull all 3 of them. All 3 credit bureaus. So you can pull all 3 free if you go to annualcreditreport.com. And I'm sure there's other companies and other websites out there that allow you to do the same thing that has the same kind of value. Now keep in mind they will vary in what information may be on them or how accurate the numbers are. But most of the case, I believe annualcreditreport.com is a good one to go to. That's one I have used for a while. But you have to know where you are in order to know what to fix and where you're going. So that was the first step. Number 2 is how to read it. Because once you get it, if you don't know how to read, it's kind of like when you pick up a book with a different language in it. If you don't understand that, then you're basically reading something. Matter of fact, you're not even reading. A lot of you guys may run as soon as you see all this list of stuff. Who is this person? What does that mean? The numbers, what is all that? So I thought, and I had to apologize to someone who had watched my videos as far as how to read a credit report. I thought maybe people would know basic things, but it is some people out there who don't know what we consider the basics, as far as the fact that the credit score starts at 350 and it goes up to 850. You know what affects your credit and all that stuff. So I wanted to get into detail on that. So how to read your report is one of the major keys. So then we also have number 4, how to remove negative payment history. I'm sure you guys would love to remove all of the payment history, right? But there's some ways that you can actually move some negative reports as far as your payment history. I'm sure you mixed a couple of months here and there, but they actually can hurt your credit score and make them fall down when you're not a 100% payer on time, which majority of Americans aren't. I'm sure we all know how to fall back on a bill or two. Maybe had to shift some money around to make it through the week, and we didn't have the money to pay that payment at this time. But you want to find out how to dispute these things, negative reports, because that really can boost your credit score by getting some of these things off of there. So that would be number 4. Now, number 5 is utilization. I like how I said that. No, I'm just playing. Utilization. So utilization is the fact of how much are you using of your credit. So let's say, for instance, you have $1,000 credit and you use $1,000 of it. That's 100% utilization, which obviously it's not what you want to do. So you basically max out your credit card. So what the company sees is that you not only not on time with your credit, paying your payment, but you obviously need this money. So if you need this money, it pretty much will never be there because you will always be spending the card. So you want to always keep that in mind. Utilization is key. Utilization is about 30% of your score. So you want to keep that range around let's say 1/3 of your score, so about 30-some% of your score. So you want to keep that range around lower than 25% of usage that you use on your credit. So whatever that credit may be, you want to use 25% of that, and that's it. So you got $100, you only use what? 25%. Okay, so now we're gonna move to number 6, how to add credit history. A lot of people will say, well, how can I add credit if I feel like my credit is garbage? Who's gonna approve me for anything? I can't get a car, I can't get a mortgage, I can't get a credit card at the store. It is ways out there that you can actually use your own money to build your credit. There's ways out there that you can use the actual spendage that you're using now for credit, which would be some things like your rent. You pay your rent on time every month. Those things can be used and calculated and ran through a company who actually reports to all 3 of your credit bureaus, and it can use your history of paying your rent to build your credit. They also have things like credit builder loans, where you can actually take your money and, you can actually go to a bank and they can give you a credit bureau loan, but you do not have the money. But the concept of it is they report to all 3 of the bureaus, which builds your credit. So those are just 2 things you can do, and there's so many other things that you can do that can build your credit score. That can take your credit a whole lot further without you having to apply for a credit card or going out and apply for a car or any of these things that you may have typically thought in the past that you needed in order to add credit history. Okay, number 7, how to properly apply for new credit. Did I just mix that? I did just mix that, guys, but we're gonna flip it over. So we talked about the how to add credit on the last step there. So this time we're going to number 7. We're going to swap it a little bit. Sorry about that, guy. How to add credit history. Credit history is the length of time you have had the credit. Some of us have gotten back on our bills and maybe utilized the whole 100% of our card and then realized, well, dog, I can't even pay the money back. So now the credit card is closed. So now your credit history is very short, maybe under a year. Typically, you would like to see something over 5 years or maybe at least 2 years. That does a good thing for your credit score. So you want to keep in mind credit history is going to be the length of time that you actually had the credit and how stable are you in keeping the credit. And then to just piggyback on that, to make sure you guys are clear, the utilization is also it's a little different. It's how much of it are you using. So we got a credit history, and then we got the utilization, which is how much of the credit that you have. So now we're going to jump to the next step, which is number 8. That's going to be credit mixture. You don't want to have the typical same credit. If you're a Macy's, JCPenney's, same consumer credit, you want to start getting some other credit, like having a home, having a car. You want to mix it up, and so people can see, okay, this guy really is using his credit, really using his strength in the credit game for other things instead of just consuming. Because as you know, the consumer is always losing money because we're constantly consuming. So at that point, you want to just get, remember, you want to have a nice mixture of credit because it stands out very good to the credit bureaus. So now number 9, the very, very last one, guys, number 9, you want to check your disputes, because remember, we disputed some of our things off of there before, but once again, once you have the human involved in it, there's human error that can be made. And also you want to check it because guess what, if they don't do it in a timely fashion, after you have sent off a certified letter to dispute these things, if they don't do it in a timely fashion and follow the procedures of the Fair Credit Act, then guess what happens? You win because they have to take it off because they didn't do their part. But if you didn't check up on it, you wouldn't know about it. So you obviously have to do your due diligence and do your follow-ups, make sure your disputes, because sometimes you have to dispute them 2 or 3 times just to get them off of there. So guys, always follow up and take the next step to make sure that that person has done his job to obtain the proper information and put the proper information out there for your credit bureaus. So guys, I just wanted to give you these 9 quick tips, and I hope I didn't confuse you with a couple of them, but you know, hey, that's what happened when you do a little video. So remember this, as you all know, stay mentally wealthy, financially wealthy, and spiritually wealthy, because we have nothing. And guys, I hope to see you on the next one, and keep that credit score going up, man.